The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everybody. What it is, what it was, what it could be. How's everybody doing tonight? Wall, I see your question in the question box. I got it covered, brother. I got it covered. Wall saying, Dave, I can't do your backup recording tonight. I am on a new computer. I got new codecs. I got support. I got all that stuff going on tonight, guys. This one's important. I wouldn't miss it. I got backups going. I got 18 different computers happening. I got it all going on. How are you guys tonight? How are you guys tonight? We had another. I got to tell you guys a story. I got a bunch of. I sent you an email yesterday, right? And I think I titled it "Buzzsaws and Dentist Drills" or something like that, right? I got a bunch of contractors over working on my house, right? And you know those aluminum scaffolding things that they put between like step ladders. I don't even know what they're called. That's way beneath me to even figure that out. I can't. I would have to look up that stuff. I don't know what they're called, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So one of the contractors today falls off of one of these things and puts it right through a brand new $2,200 bay window on the side of my house. So that's how my morning started today. So hopefully everybody on the call is able to answer the question, how's it going, in a more positive attitude than, or a more positive way than that. Good to see you all here. Wall actually took off already. Well, that's too bad. He just stopped in to tell me he couldn't make it to do my backup recording. What a guy. I appreciate it. Oh, where is everybody calling in from tonight? Some of you I know. Some of you I know. Reed doing great in Idaho. Fantastic. Another Reed from Idaho. Russell's from Idaho. That's what I was thinking. I am so excited to be here. Jim in NC. Charlie's still in Florida. Charlie, I know where you live, brother. And Graham's still awake in the UK. Graham, you're going to be glad you stayed up for this. This is probably going to be the most powerful presentation you guys have ever gotten to through me. You guys all know, because I've had trouble training you on it, right? I've had trouble teaching you how I outsource the tasks in my business. It's just not something I can get outside of my head and teach. And a few weeks ago, one of our brethren, Keith Cabery, you guys all know Keith from the Skype group, I'm sure, turned me on and introduced me to Micael Hellickson. And this cat is the outsourcing guy, okay? I mean, he knows how to do it. He is the chairman and CEO of Virtual Assistant Staffing. And, you can see right here on this intro slide, increasing your time, reducing your expenses 67%. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? And this is going to be the webinar to teach you how to do that. And on top of it, he's got some crazy bonuses we're going to get into in the end. Started his career in 1991 as a real estate agent, okay? And has since just gone on to absolutely crush it in every single industry and every single niche he's ever gotten to. Been featured everywhere, Fox Business, CBS Radio, and CNBC. He's an efficiency expert and global team builder. I mean, you guys can all see that, but I'm telling you, the guy knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, and he's going to be able to show you how you can outsource, why you should outsource, and why all of these things make sense. I couldn't be talking to you guys right now. You guys all know this. I couldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for the fact that I'm able to sustain my local business through outsourcing. That's just all there is to it. I wouldn't have time to do these webinars. I wouldn't have time to put this training together if it wasn't for outsourcing. It's so important, and I've had such a difficult time teaching it to you guys that I think everybody here is going to be just absolutely blown away by the information that you're about to get. I know everybody says this, in this pond we swim around, and everybody tells you, turn off your Twitter and your microwave, and don't let the dishwasher make too much noise, and grab a pen and paper. I mean it, okay? You guys are going to want to take notes on this one tonight. This is not just going to be some BS fluff. As a matter of fact, there's going to be an offer at the end of this. But it's so important that you guys hear this offer because it's unbelievable that I have decided to give away 2 copies of the being launched tomorrow new and improved Wrecking Ball SMS system, and we're going to do that at the end of the call here, right before we get to Q&A. So you're definitely going to want to stick around for that, and that's going to force you to stick around until you hear this whole presentation because I feel it's that important to you. You guys know that anything I've ever mailed you had real value. Almost everything I've ever mailed has taken somebody and made them a smashing success that was willing to put the effort into it. This is completely opposite of that because it's all about reducing the effort you have to put into it and profiting from it. I want to give it just another 1 or 2 minutes and let everybody get here that can get here. I know there's still a lot of people showing up at the last minute. Let's see. Paul says, will this include info on outsourcing commission-only salespeople? Well, that's another one of the really cool things that I really like about virtual assistant staffing, okay? Like I said, Keith put me in touch with Micael here not too long ago. And when you're looking for, I'm going to call it a high-end outsourcer, an outsourcer that you can really trust with your business, an outsourcer that you can really trust with your customers, that's kind of what Micael specializes in. So that's an awesome, awesome question, and I'm sure he'll be touching on that a little bit later. Jonathan, I see your question there, and yeah, we'll be covering that, and I know I didn't get to you on the Skype today, but today is not over, so if you've got time after the webinar, I can give you a shout. Otherwise, I'm going to be available all day tomorrow as well. So I apologize for not getting back to you. It's been pretty crazy the last couple of days. We're going to have plenty of time for Q&A later, I promise you, and we are going to be taking all of your questions. So if you've got them punched in, I'm going to do my best to get back to them. But I want to introduce to you a guy that's changing lives, and he's changing the way people think about business. And I want you all to please welcome and woot and put your hands in the air for a guy named Micael Hellickson. Great guy and somebody I'm considering a friend now. Micael, are you there?
I am here. How are you doing today?
Awesome, awesome. Who's got it better than me, brother?
I tell you, man, it's awe-inspiring just to be here with you. I tell you, you always put a great group together, and man, I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me. So, yeah, looking forward to getting into some great content today. Keep in mind, everybody, we're going to be doing, today's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So. Make sure that you've got a pen and paper. We're going to be going lightning fast. But before I do, Dave, do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. I think we should tear into it. And, I know we got a ton of ground to cover tonight. So what we ought to do is tear into it and make sure we got time for Q&A later. And that way we're going to get everybody's questions answered, I think, best instead of me trying to guess.
I agree. I love it. All right. Well, let's rock and roll. So, I'm going to start with kind of we'll call it my rags to riches story, but really what it is I just want to kind of give you guys a little background on, how I went from being the Lone Ranger to building a world-class team. I always tell people I'm a recovering real estate agent. I sold real estate for about 20 years and did real well with it. Started when I was in high school. Was a very hard worker. You can see kind of some of the stuff on the screen there that the accomplishments I made. But here's the crazy thing. As I became a high-producing real estate agent in my office at a young age, I realized that, man, even though I'm doing all this business, I'm not making any money. And my parents actually came to me and they said, hey, Micael, you need to go get a real job like at McDonald's where you'd make more money. And the sad thing and the scary thing is that they were right. I actually would have made more if I'd have gone to work for McDonald's. And so I thought, I got to get my head screwed on straight. And I did exactly what you guys are doing right now. I found an expert, just like you guys have turned to Dave. I went out and I found the expert in the real estate sales arena, and I went to a seminar taught by this person, and I decided, I got to learn how to do this right. And, man, I got to tell you, this guy said something in this event that has stuck with me ever since. I mean, here we are more than 20 years later, and I've never forgotten it. I've made it my mantra. He says, if you don't have an assistant, you are one. And, man, let me tell you, that hit me like a ton of bricks, and I hope that that hits you pretty hard, too, because it's true. If you don't have an assistant, you're doing a lot of the things that an assistant should be doing that could free you up to focus your time, effort, and energy on much higher paid tasks, the things that make you the most money, so that you can get your dollars per hour for your time up as high as possible, so that then you can spend, obviously, more time with your family or doing whatever it is you like to do besides just working all the time.
That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement. You guys ever sit around the poker table, watch the World Poker Tour? If you can't spot the guppy in the first 10 seconds, you're the guppy. Same deal applies here, folks.
That's funny. I love it. You're right about that. Well, you know, that shamed me more or less into hiring my first assistant, and I got to tell you, it was a stretch for me, Dave. I had to make an agreement with this person that I would pay them more than I had ever made in a year, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. But I had a credit card, and I knew how to use it, so I figured I'd make it work. So I hired her, and it actually 4 years later she became my wife, and that's when I went to work for her, but that's a whole other story. So continuing on, you know, about the next 15 years, Tara and I built this empire. We started doing really well, and, you know, we were closing between 60 and 120 homes a year, which, you know, isn't lighting it on fire, but, you know, we were making enough not to want to get out of the business. You know, we started building a rental portfolio, went out and bought our little McMansion, because, you know, that's what we were supposed to do, right? And so that was all fine and good, and everything was going great until it wasn't. And many of you were around in 2007, and you remember the day that the economy shut down, basically, and the money dried up. Well, I lost in that 1 month about $100,000 in commissions, and that's an eye-opener when you lose that kind of money in 1 month. My rental properties were upside down all of a sudden. My house payment was about $6,000 a month. I had about $6,000 in the bank because, you know, like everybody else in the world, I was spending more than I was making. And I'm sure nobody on this call has ever been here, right, Dave? Yeah. Had a handful of unsellable listings, and I had to make a decision. I had to go big or I had to go home. And so Tara and I thought a lot about it. We prayed a lot about it, and we decided that we were going to go big. And so that's when I started building my first team. And this is something that, you know, it's a big move when you go from being that Lone Ranger to building a team that's going to help you and help you grow. And Dave, you know, what was that process like for you?
It's hard, you know. When I tore off into outsourcing, I thought I was going to be just really, really good at it because I have been working as an engineer. I have been running my own brick and mortar businesses with staff, and I had a staff of 7 junior engineers that I managed, you know, for many years, and I was good at it. And when I tried to transition that knowledge base to someplace that wasn't at my physical location, it was tough for me. It became a kind of a management headache, and I made the mistake of attacking it without researching it. And that's where I failed for sure, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, I wasn't even there yet at this point. I wasn't even at the point of hiring virtually yet. I was still just building a local team. And that was, for me, that was a big shift, you know, going from just, you know, mom and pop to, you know, we're going to build a team. So here's what we did. Fast forward to 2010, so just a little over 3 years later, we had 44 employees now. Now, you know, you mentioned you had a handful of employees yourself. You know what that's like. And especially when they're local, they come with a lot of headaches, and the payroll is crazy. I had $125,000 a month in payroll. You know, we closed about 470 transactions for the year at that point, had about 500 listings, 278 pendings, you know, so a lot of business, right? We were doing great business, making about $100,000 a month in net profits, you know, between 100 and 150 a month, which all sounds great, and it is until you have a month where you lose 70 grand, and that sucks. And you've got all this payroll you got to make, and you're thinking, wow, okay, I'm working really hard, I'm doing a whole lot of transactions, and all of a sudden I've got a day or a month where I lose $70,000. Man, I got to reanalyze what I'm doing. And that's when I made the shift to kind of to what you're talking about, Dave, where I decided I had to look at these virtual assistants because all my friends were telling me that I needed to go virtual. And I got to tell you, it was with great reluctance that I did this because, like you mentioned, I wasn't sure how I was going to manage these people, how am I going to find them, how am I going to hire them, how am I going to train them, how am I going to, you know, hold them accountable for the results and just everything. I mean, I had more questions than answers. And so one day I just finally said, screw it. I'm going to bite the bullet. And I bit the bullet and I did it, and I hired my first VA, and I hired them as an assistant to one of my other assistants. And it actually went really, really well. And it was easier than I thought it was going to be. It was hard to find them. I struggled with finding the right one. But once I finally got down to the one that I wanted to hire, I finally hired him, and that process went well. So my wife and my office manager came to me, and they said, well, Michael, we want virtual assistants as well. So I hired 2 more. And frankly, one of them was fantastic, and the other one sucked. So I was frustrated with that third VA that we had hired, and I thought to myself, well, I got to get rid of this person. And it was easy. Well, think about this. When you fire somebody locally, Dave, do you have to go through a bit of a process when you do that?
Oh, not only do you have to go through a bit of a process, but then you open yourself up to so much risk that's not there when you hire somebody virtually. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to worry about that you just don't need to worry about virtually because of the relationship and the way it's structured to begin with.
Well, it's funny too because you've got all the laws and stuff that you got to deal with. I mean, think about this: when you fire somebody locally, they could come back and say, well, I'm a middle-aged white guy, so you're discriminating against me.
Right.
Or I'm whatever. I mean, it could be anything. Or they could say, hey, I worked all this overtime that you didn't pay me for, and so now I'm going to go to L&I or the Office of Employment Enforcement, wherever, depending on the state you're in, and I'm going to get them to make you pay me all this back overtime that I actually didn't work, but I'm saying I did. Man, that stuff happens all the time when you deal with local employees. Well, with this particular employee that was not, this virtual assistant that was not working out well for us, I literally sent an email off saying, your services are no longer required, and I was done with that employee. That was it. I mean, I felt like Donald Trump. It was great. You're fired.
You're fired.
It was awesome. I mean, and I don't mean that in a callous way. I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but I mean, at the same time, it's a business decision, and we as a business needed to move on and hire somebody different. And so I learned a lot through that process, and I learned how much easier it is to work with virtual assistants once you understand the process. And so we started looking around the office. Remember, I had 44 people working for me at that point. So I started looking around the office, and I started picking them off one at a time. And I literally took my entire office virtual. And, man, let me tell you, you want to talk liberating? I went from $125,000 a month in payroll to just over $40,000 a month in payroll using virtual assistants. That's a savings of $85,000 a month without having to sell another house, without having to do another transaction. It was phenomenal. And that's just where the savings began. Some of the crazy parts, think about this. When you hire an employee, you have a lot of expenses. It's not just their wage and their salary. But you've also got, when you hire locally, the employment taxes, the L&I, the workers' comp, Social Security, all that stuff. Then you've got office chit-chat that happens. And that costs you money too. People don't realize how much money office chit-chat can cost them. It's tremendous. Do you ever deal with that in your business?
Oh yeah, it's a ton. I mean, I was in an automotive field, with the hot rod shop, but instead of office chit-chat, I had customer chit-chat. Because, the hot rodders, the racers, they like to show up and they like to hang out at the hot rod shop. And, well, they spend, you can waste hours and hours and hours of a mechanic's time, and hidden expenses with on-site employees. I have a story I like to tell that I call the $675 chair. And one of my junior engineers, right, sitting right behind me in a shared office when I was working for somebody else, turns out I'm not very good at that, his office chair breaks one day. Well, replacing it becomes an event. And you wind up with 5 people involved in the process and tying up 4 or 5 hours, man hours, not to mention the workload lost because all these people aren't on task anymore, and you have to pay for it because it's your business and they're working in your office.
It's funny you mention that because that's actually besides the drama, that's actually on my next slide. All the office expenses that you now no longer have to pay. You don't have to pay long-term leases, triple net insurance, telephone, internet, office equipment, and like you said, you've got the copiers, computers, the chairs, the desks, the plants, the toilet paper, the light bulbs. None of that. You don't have to deal with any of that when you have virtual employees. And man, I can totally see how you could get to $675 for an office chair by the time somebody goes and takes care of it, and goes and picks it up or gets it delivered, and just all the stuff involved in that.
We had $675. We had $675 just into digging an old one out of the shed. We didn't even.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. We didn't even get him a new chair. It just.
Oh my gosh.
It was ugly. I was pissed. It was a bad day.
But see, and that's why I'm not joking. I mean, people just don't. It's hard for people that haven't run a big team sometimes to get their head around this. But the cost of employee is so much greater than the hourly rate when you hire locally. It's not even funny. I mean, it's literally, it can be double by the time you think of all the other things that are involved. It can easily be double the actual when you hire locally. And so getting rid of that local need to have people on site is huge, and it's liberating. It allows you to do a lot of things that you can't otherwise do. And by the way, one of the things that you eliminate is drama. Have you ever had drama in an office?
Yeah. Has anybody ever not had drama in an office is a better question.
Let me tell you, drama is expensive. I mean, think about this. Like when I fired that gal, had she been local, I would have had a ripple effect through my office. Because now, these people are friends with their families, they're going to parties together, they're drinking together after work or whatever. They get to be too friendly when they're working in an office environment. And now when you've got to let one of them go, you're the bad guy. And now you got all the drama and the chit-chat, the behind-the-scenes gossip, Dave let her go. Why did he do that? She was such a great person. I can't believe he would do that. Maybe I'm next. Oh, no. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, the questions coming in the question box. Scott says, I have one employee, a receptionist, and all the time wasted talking to patients, mailmen, delivery, drug reps, ouch. And right underneath it, Gary says, yeah, vacation, health insurance, sick pay, personal days, jury duty, etc.
Oh, yeah, jury duty. Oh, I love that one. I got to add that to my PowerPoint. That's a great one. That's something you never have to deal with, virtually. All of those things. It's so true.
Absolutely.
Well, oh, man, I love that everybody on the webinar is thinking that way. That's great because they're absolutely right about that. And by the way, your receptionist at your front desk, that's so easy to outsource virtually. You could have somebody at the front desk if you need to actually have somebody there greeting people. That's fine. But why not put an iPad or a tablet PC up there with a webcam, and when people come in the front door, you've got your VA sitting there, and they direct them to where they need to go. I mean, how easy would that be? They could do that via Skype or whatever. Anyway, so check this out. The side benefit that I got, I started to realize after I had moved entirely virtual, all the other benefits that I started getting out of it. And the number one reason that really struck me is that, have you ever heard the phrase, no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home?
No.
It's a great quote.
No.
And I'll tell you, isn't that a great quote, though?
It is.
No success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. And, I mean, that's really true. I mean, you got to have balance in your life. And what happened is once I got rid of my office, I no joke, I took 5 weeks off, and I spent 5 weeks traveling. I'm curious if anybody on the webinar can guess what that mountain is in the background. And it'd be very interesting. I'll put you at the top of the list on getting a VA if you can guess what that mountain is.
Anybody?
But, yep.
Somebody says Matterhorn.
It is the Matterhorn. That's right. So here we are. I took 5 weeks off. I took my family to Europe. But the cool part is not that I got to go to Europe with my family. It's that I didn't check an email. I didn't check a voicemail. I didn't check in with my office. I didn't do anything related to work for 5 weeks, and my business grew while I was gone.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's the magic. That's huge. And if I wanted to check in on my business, it would have been easy because now I've created a virtual environment for my business that I can literally do from anywhere in the world, and it's transparent. Nobody would ever know that I was in America or Thailand or wherever in the world that I happen to be.
This is actually too funny. Are you just outside of Zermatt there?
That's in Zermatt. That's exactly right. We're up at the top of the chairlift just getting ready to ride those little scooters down the mountain.
I just got back from Zermatt. We were over there in the spring.
Isn't that the most amazing place in the world?
It is, and the same thing for me. My business continued to function just fine because of the way I have my VAs set up.
That's exactly right. And now and Dave, I think it's important. This is a good chance for you and I to mention this. The key to that is that you've done a great job training your VAs on how you want things done. And when you train them properly, you can trust them to get things done, and you don't have to worry about what's happening while you're gone.
Absolutely.
That's gigantic. That's funny that you've been to Sermont. We'll have to swap stories sometime. What a great place.
I got the same picture as you with 2 less kids and more snow on the ground. But
that's awesome. Yeah, that little guy on the left there, that's Austin, and Madison's my daughter, of course. And Austin, he says he wants to move to Sermont someday, so that's his big goal. But all right, well, real estate agents are an example of somebody that uses VAs for a lot of different things. I know we've got a lot of people on the call here that are doing the SMS texting thing and all that kind of stuff, but I want you to think about some of the similarities here, because any industry can use VAs as long as it's for things that don't require physical presence in your office to do, like your social media posting, your blog writing, your website upkeep, your database management. Posting deals on Nationwide Investment Clubs is something a lot of real estate agents do, but think about all the things you can do with your SMS business related to virtual systems, and where can you do some lead generation that happens virtually. Well, let's talk about this real quick. Before we go into more of the things that virtual assistants can do, I want to talk about Dave's gift for you guys. One of the things that Dave and I talked about before we did this webinar was that I needed to bring tremendous value to you guys for free. And he wanted to make sure that no matter what we did, that we weren't going to sell anything. We were just going to give you something for free that would bring so much value that it would be hard for you to believe we were actually doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a website here. And we lost the website. It's VA. Hang on, Dave. Do you have that? It's va.daveigo.com. Is that right?
Yep, va.daveigo.com is where you go check it out.
All right, so you're going to go to that website, and when you do, you're going to get a call from a relationship manager in my office who's going to give you 40 hours of virtual assistant time absolutely free. Again, that's 40 hours of virtual assistant time absolutely free. Why are we going to do this? We're going to do this because we want to give you the opportunity to test your VA out and make sure that they're the right fit for your team. So we're going to give you a call. We're going to double check to make sure that you've got the right VA, and to make sure that you're absolutely super happy with that VA. And if you're not happy with that VA, guess what we're going to do? We're going to come in and we are going to replace that VA absolutely free for you. So think about that. So you're going to get a chance to try them out absolutely free, no risk to you, for 40 hours. It's huge. And all you got to do is jump on that website to take advantage of that. And when we do that, we're going to make sure that you are getting somebody that's very, very specific to your business, because everybody's business is different. Some people need a VA for posting. Some people need a telemarketer. Everybody's going to have a different need. And the key is, even within your business, even when it comes to SMS texting and all that, you're going to have different needs that you need handled. And so we want to make sure that we really dig into exactly what it is that you need. Does that make sense, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, this is an unbelievable offer. When we talked about this, and there's a couple more tiers to it that we're going to touch on just a little bit later here, guys, because not only has Micael agreed to give you guys this 40 hours of VA time to help you find the right VA, to help you dial in your business. And there was a question that came in the question box here just a few minutes ago. It sounds like this is just for people with lots of money that aren't, it's not for newbies. Well, to a degree, I suppose there's a little bit of truth in that. You shouldn't be, if you're not making a dime, your first move probably shouldn't be hiring a VA. On the other hand, as soon as you're making a dime, and I'm not talking a dollar, I'm talking a dime, you need to be thinking about how you're going to scale that and how you're going to offload the burden that you're placing on yourself. And if you're not thinking that way, you're going to be in trouble. And Mike's got some smaller packages here too, so it doesn't have to be a 40-hour-a-week thing. But the cool thing is I would encourage all of you guys to go to va.daveigo.com and sign up. He'll have one of his trained experts actually give you a call, and they will help you figure out, no BS, they will help you figure out whether a VA is right for you And if there's things in your business you can offload immediately to a VA and help you figure that out. This isn't just, look, he's looking for long-term customers, you guys. So he's not going to just sign you up if you don't need to be signed up, because it's not worth his time, because he will lose money lying to you just to sign you up. You know what I'm saying? So they really have trained their staff to help everybody that takes this consultation. And I would urge you all to do it, whether you think you need it or not. You may be surprised.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Dave. And I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I've got to have $1 million to be able to hire a VA. That's one of the nice things about hiring a virtual assistant, is that they're a lot less expensive than local staff. But again, as Dave mentioned, if your business is struggling right now and you're not profitable yet, let's first get into a stability situation in your business. Once you're stable in your business and you're ready to start looking at growth, let's then talk about, okay, how can a virtual assistant help you with that growth? And, do you need 10 hours a month, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week? Maybe it's full-time. Who knows? But the bottom line is, we're going to tailor something that works well for you. And hey, if it's not right for you right now, that's okay. If you're thinking that eventually you'd like to have a virtual assistant, even though you may not be quite ready for it yet, go ahead and go to the website anyway. Go ahead and fill out the contact form on the website. We'll contact you. It'll get us, you and I connected. And at the end of the day, if you're 6 months, a year, 2 years out, that's okay. When you're ready, we're going to be here. And I'm never going to do this today and today only kind of a deal for you. I'm not going to put any pressure on you like that. We're here to help you. And whether that's today or 2 years from now, we just want to do right by you and make sure that you're taken care of and that you truly get what you need and exactly what you need and not more than that. So, all right. So one of the cool things about the way we do it as well is we do an actual global search. We don't have an office in the Philippines, for example. We hire people from America. We hire people from overseas. We hire people literally all over the world. The key is we want to make sure that we find the person that's right for your business, for your budget, and that has the skill sets that you need in that position. And that whole process usually takes about 2 weeks. So we put them through quite a process. We go through between 200 and 400 resumes per position. And all that, then we put them through an interview process. We interview the top 30 candidates, disc profile, typing tests, all kinds of stuff. And then we finally get it down to a second and third round of interviews. And once we place that VA with you, you're going to get that 40 hours. Test drive them. If you love them, keep them. And if you don't, no worries. Call me up and say, hey, Michael, this one wasn't a good fit. Go get me a different one. Either way, you will never, ever, ever pay us a dime until you have a VA that you love, period.
That's before we go any farther. What do you guys think of that? I mean, let's get some claps. Let's get some hands in the air. I mean, have you ever heard an offer like that before? Right. That's huge. That's awesome. Those are great words for it, and they're not descriptive enough. This is an amazing opportunity for you guys to find the perfect VA at no cost. At no cost.
It's a pretty good deal. I got to tell you, sometimes when we share it with people, they take a step back and they say that can't be right. There's no way. I don't believe you. And we get that a lot. And at the end of the day, it's absolutely true. I've come from the school that, think about it. I was a real estate agent for 20 years. When you sell real estate, you don't get paid until the deal's closed. And I feel like I need to first prove myself to you. I need to get you what you want and make sure that you know that you have what you want before you ever pay me a dime. And I'm very comfortable with that. And does it involve some risk on my part? Sure. There's a lot of trust on our part and a lot of money expended in that. But you're going to end up with a great VA because of it. So. All right. Well, let's talk about these virtual assistants. They come in all shapes and sizes. Their backgrounds vary. Their skill sets vary. Their pay ranges vary. I mean, it really depends on what your need is, right? It's less money, for example, to hire somebody to do data entry than it is to hire somebody that can be a telemarketer for you that speaks perfect English and can call every single one of your clients and set up appointments for you to talk to them or whatever it is you're going to have them doing. There's obviously various skill sets and pay ranges that go with us. There's a difference if you hire globally versus in the U.S. It's actually cheaper, obviously, to hire abroad than it is to hire in the U.S. We can help you with both, but you need to make a decision on which one you prefer. Long-term versus project. It's less expensive when you hire someone on a long-term basis than it is when you hire someone for just a single project. But again, we can handle both. quality versus what, lack of quality, if you will. So let's talk more, Dave, real quick about what can VAs do, because I think there's probably a lot of people on the call kind of wondering what are they really capable of doing. And we talked a little bit about anything that doesn't require physical presence in your office. One of my favorites is bookkeepers. And and locally, Dave, would you agree that more often than not, when you hire a local bookkeeper, you're going to be in the $25 to $55 an hour range?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want somebody that cares about their work.
Yeah. Well, abroad, when my bookkeeper, for example, I used to have 4 local bookkeepers, and they were all at those rates that I just told you. But my bookkeeper today is in the Philippines, and I pay $9 an hour for a fantastic bookkeeper who's very good with QuickBooks and keeps my P&L up to date on a daily basis. Talks to my accountant so that when my tax accountant wants things categorized a certain way, my VA can make sure that she's categorizing them in the way they want. Absolutely phenomenal for $9 an hour. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's an amazing.
And by the way,
and they love their jobs.
Go ahead.
They love their jobs. Like
they do.
They just absolutely love their jobs. A thank you goes so much farther in this world than it does in the office.
It's funny because locally I used to, I'd go up to an employee and I'd say, oh, hey, thanks, you're doing a great job, blah, 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 blah. And then in the back of their minds, I know they're saying, well, where's my bonus? And, when I give my VAs, a little kudo here and there, man, I get responses like, wow, thank you so much, Michael. It's so great to be appreciated. And, just absolutely, they love that praise. So, all right, so receptionist, telemarketing and appointment setting. We talked about SEO and blogging, web design and development, everything from WordPress on up to Ruby on Rails. You name it, they can do it. App design and development, if you want to create iPhone apps or Android apps or whatever, you name it, it can all be done by VAs. Client care coordinators, research, they can do all kinds of stuff with research. Obviously, the low-end data entry is very cheap. Managing your CRM or your client relationship management software, your client database. How about this? Emails and voicemails. I want to talk about this for just a moment because one of the places that solopreneurs or people that are kind of running their business on their own often face is they get a lot of email and a lot of voicemails. And if you think about it, you can break your emails and voicemails into 3 distinct categories. The lowest third are junk and spam and stuff that just needs to be deleted and go away. The top third is stuff that you and only you can deal with. And then there's this middle third. And that's stuff that when well trained, once you've trained your VA on your preferences and how you like things handled, they could probably handle responding to that middle third. And so hiring a VA could in essence help you eliminate having to even look at 2/3 of your email and your voicemail every day. How much time do you think that would save? If all a VA could do was take 2/3 of your voicemails and emails off your plates, would it be worth it to have a VA?
What do you guys think? It's a stupid question. I think it's a stupid question to ask, Michael. We all know the answer to that one.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's true, though. It really would. It would absolutely eliminate 2/3 of that work. And now, what could you do with all that time? How many hours do you think most people spend checking their email and voicemail every day? It's crazy.
I'll bet it's a bunch. I'll bet it's
managing
a bunch.
your calendar. One of the things I have is, it is. It's huge. I have a couple of VAs that work for me now. I've got a couple of sales guys, a couple of appointment setters, and what my appointment setters do is they literally call all of our clients and they set appointments for them to talk to one of our relationship managers or to talk to me, for example. So my schedule and all my guys' schedules are literally full every single day with people that want to talk to us at a particular time. Now think about this. This is gigantic. And I don't think you can possibly overstate the importance of this. Think about not ever having to make a cold call ever again. Think about not ever having to track down a client who wants to do business with you but is maybe hard to get a hold of. And now you've got somebody else that can do the tracking down for you all day, so now all you do is talk to qualified prospects every hour. It's huge. Our business just it exploded when we hired our VAs to do the appointment setting for us. obviously booking your flights, your hotel, all that kind of stuff. And how about this, Dave? Instead of rolling over every morning to, hey, honey, don't forget to take out the garbage, how cool would it be to roll out of bed and turn on your Skype, and all of a sudden you get a message from your VA that says, Dave, you are going to crush it today. This is going to be the best day of your career, the best day of your life ever. Go out there and knock them dead. So wouldn't that be a great way to start the day?
It's funny you bring that up. You guys all know that I just brought Eric on full-time. Eric's one of the best things that's ever happened to my business. He's become an integral part of my company. It's the first thing he does in the morning. It's the first thing he does in the morning is sends me a rally email because Eric's a morning person and I'm not. And he took it upon himself to start doing that. And it sounds silly. It makes a dramatic difference in my day. A dramatic difference.
I tell you, I've got my VA. Marion does the same thing, and she always and VAs are notorious for this. She'll log on to Skype every morning. She'll send me a message, "Good morning, Micael," with a big smiley face, and I just can't help but laugh. I chuckle a little bit every time I see that, but it gets my day off to a great start. It's just she's always happy, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because she's in a warm climate and I'm in Seattle. I don't know. That could be.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. The gray skies will kill you.
Let me tell you, man. I'm looking out the window. Yeah, it's always gray. Midsummer, it's gray here. It doesn't matter when it is. All right. Well, hey, Dave, can I get you to? This is a testimonial from one of our clients. Maybe I can get you to read this for us real quick.
Absolutely. My virtual assistant is terrific. She saves me money, does a fantastic job, and is invaluable to my business. The process of hiring through virtual assistant staffing was easy, fast, and efficient. With the free trial, I knew I had nothing to lose. I highly recommend this service. Okay, I want you guys to pay attention to who said that here. Okay? Tell them who that is, Michael.
That's Ken Kellerman. Ken is the president of a Sales Advantage Group, a company in California, and let me tell you, Ken is a pretty big deal down there. He actually was the #1 representative for Fannie Mae for all of their properties that they sold in California for a very long time. And let me tell you, you want to talk about somebody who's very picky about the way his office runs and about the quality that his staff members need to live up to, Ken's the guy. So pretty cool stuff. And in fact, Ken's in the process. He's getting ready to hire 2 more VAs from us right now. He was so happy with the first one he hired. So good guy. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about VAs. So, a lot of people say that they don't speak good English, but that's just not true. There are a lot of VAs out there that don't speak very good English, but when you hire the right VA, if you need perfect English, you can get a VA with perfect English. And it doesn't have to be a VA from America. We hire VAs all the time. In fact, I just hired a couple of guys out of South Africa who not only do they speak perfect English, one of them's got a PhD. Now, you'll love this. These are very high-end VAs, right? One of them's got a PhD, has that sexy British accent, and is, get this, $15 an hour. This guy's been an executive assistant to corporate America, VPs of corporate American Fortune 500 companies for years. Unbelievable. I mean, you can't touch that. In America, that guy'd be making $150,000 a year.
And so, when I came on with your company, I had my intake interview with Marion, and unbelievable. On top of me not knowing that she wasn't sitting right next to me in Minnesota, one of the most personable people I've ever spoke to on the phone.
And you probably couldn't tell where she was from.
Nope, not a clue. Not a clue.
Yeah, and Mary, she's fantastic. She's actually and you can tease her about this. Anybody that ends up with an appointment with me, we'll go through her to set that appointment. And if you happen to talk to Marion in my office, give her a little bit of a hard time. She's the former Miss Philippines. So you want to talk to somebody that's got poise? She's got poise. So we hire very high-level VAs. So now we can get you those low-level data entry folks as well. If that's what your need is and that's what you want, you just want down and dirty, cheap, and you're okay with an accent, hey, we can get you that. That's fine.
There's a lot of questions coming in, Michael. Give us the range. Give us the high and the low as far as price for a VA.
Generally speaking, for everybody on this call, your low is going to be about $7 an hour for your data entry, your blogging, your SEO, backlinking, all that kind of stuff. And your very high end is going to be 15 is really, really high end. I mean, that's unless you start getting into like Ruby on Rails programmers or Android app programmers and stuff like that. Sometimes those can get a little bit more expensive. But for executive assistants and all that kind of stuff, more often than not, most people are going to be in that 11 to 13 range. And the ones that really want to go crazy and have somebody that's just the bomb diggity bomb of VAs, they're going to maybe spend 15. I mean, that's all in, by the way. There's no taxes, no Social Security, no fees, no anything on top of that. That's your all-in cost. So when you start comparing that against hiring locally, and I know it's going through some people's minds right now, they're thinking, well, gosh, I could hire somebody in my neighborhood for $15 an hour. Yeah, well, not like these guys, you can't. And if you pay somebody $15 an hour locally, you're really paying them over 20.
Yeah, and you're talking about a higher caliber of professional for the dollar amount here, because you have to keep in mind that you're still paying these people an excellent wage where they happen to live. You're paying them, this isn't sweatshops or anything like that. These people are making a good living. It just happens to be that where they are, you can pay them that kind of a wage, and that's a good living in that country.
A lot of these folks are making more money than doctors in their area.
Yeah.
Not uncommon at all. So, I mean, you really got to put it in perspective. In fact, a lot of times they're not only supporting their family on this wage, they're supporting their extended family on this wage. And so you get somebody who is very devoted to their career, somebody who is very grateful for their job, somebody who realizes that, hey, I'm not at work to sit there and tag, Skype and Facebook and text message all my friends. I'm at work to work. And in fact, we at the end of every day with my VAs, I make them give me an end-of-day report that breaks down by hour every single thing they've done all day long so that I can see how effective they've been. And it allows me to really get a grasp for what's going on in my business. You never get that kind of accountability with a local employee. It's not even close.
Right.
So, cool stuff. And again, they're not all from the Philippines or India. We hire people from all over the world. Programmers and developers, for example, oftentimes come out of like Eastern Europe. If I need paralegals and attorneys, I get those out of Central and South America frequently. If I need really, really high-level executive assistants with that really sexy British accent, I'll go to South Africa. But just literally all over. And we do hire people out of the Philippines. We get a lot of folks out of the Philippines, but usually for our lower-level customer service type roles and that sort of thing. They often require less management than the local staff. Their work quality, as we talked about, is often way superior to local staff. Some other things they can do, chief financial officer, project directors, social media transcription, graphics designers, teaching your kids to play an instrument. Here's a funny one. Maybe you want someone to teach your kid to play piano over Skype. Well, cool. I'll go to Romania and I'll find the Romanian class pianist of the year, and I'll get you them for a fraction of what it would cost you to hire somebody locally to teach your kid piano, and they'll do a better job of it, and they'll do it over Skype. I mean, how cool is that? If you want to create full motion animated videos, I can actually get you the people that created Toy Story. All the people that, the artists and stuff that did these full motion things like Toy Story or, what are some, any of those, those Disney and Pixar movies, you name it. People that speak every language. I've got VAs in place that speak English and Vietnamese. I'm currently placing a VA that they need to speak 3 languages for this client: English, Japanese, and Chinese. And so we're hiring this executive assistant, and if I told you the name of the person that I'm hiring them for, you would recognize their name. Pretty cool stuff. So Dave, what are some things that you recommend they use their VAs for?
Well, I think, most of the people on this call, and I'm going to guess a little bit and speculate, but I think most of these people, what they need to grow their business and to scale it as quickly as they'd really like to, is tasks related to prospecting. Cold calling, mail processing, research for new customers, those kinds of things. Now, I use 3 almost full-time VAs to handle all, with the exception of the incoming phone calls from my clients, I'm still taking those, but that's just me. That's my personality, and I enjoy doing it, so I don't mind doing it. But with the exception of that, all of my SMS work and all of my Facebook work and all of my YouTube work is going to VAs. All of it. And most of it I don't even see. The emails are forwarded straight there. I get a weekly report. I used to do a daily, and now I trust them to the point where I don't need a daily. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of my time. So now we do it on a weekly basis.
That's great.
But the cool thing is building up, that kind of trust, because you've provided, when you hire a receptionist for your local office, right, or an accountant, you got about a 1 in 10 shot that the person that took that job wanted that job, right? Because they think they want to have bigger, grander things or more freedom or all of the things that, we all want, because they're not employees, they're just not. So they don't give you the proper mindset. On the other hand, when you hire virtual, that's what these people want to do. So they're excited to do it, and it shows in everything that they do. It has been so much easier once I got it dialed in, once I figured out how I needed to train the people on a task-specific basis. It has been so much easier for me than dealing with a brick-and-mortar staff, for lack of a better term. They can do anything. If you don't need them to sweep the floor, or if they don't need to be in think about this, guys, if they don't need to be in your physical location, then anything can be outsourced. Any repetitive task can be outsourced. Any one-off task can be outsourced. As long as you don't need them to push a broom or take out the garbage, you can outsource it, probably.
That's so true. And when you really start to think, and that's if you come away from this webinar with nothing other than this, know this: there is no limit to what you can have someone do virtually. And the more you think about, gosh, what could I have them do, the more your mind expands, and the more you realize, wow, there really is so much they can do for me. And you can limit your day to only those things that are the absolute things that you and only you can do. And the more you can do that, the higher your income will go, the higher your hourly rate for your time will go. And that's what you want. You want to show up for work, and you want to work, maybe you're wanting to work that 4-hour work week or whatever it is in your mind that creates success for you. But you want to make sure that your time at work is so laser focused and is so absolutely effective that you are only there for a limited amount of time, and then you can go do whatever else it is you want to do in your life and not have to worry about, is my business growing or is it not?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I don't know, Michael, you and I just briefly spoke about this on Skype today, and I don't know if you've got a slide prepared or not, and I don't know if I should bring it up, but everybody on the call knows that this is the kind of crap I do on these things. We talked a little bit about...
Should I be nervous?
I don't think you should be nervous, but, I'm going to surprise you a little bit. You and I talked a little bit about it. I want you guys to think about something here. I want everybody on the call to think about something. What if you looked at selling VAs as a local service, right? You're selling Facebook now. You're selling mobile websites now. You're selling SMS now. That's great. What if you could go in to any local business and trim their payroll by 20%? Do you think that's a service that maybe some local businesses would be interested in? And I know Michael will let you do that. And here comes the surprise, Michael, for you. What if we took my guys here and we said that they could go out and sell your services and offer those local companies that 40-hour free trial? Would you be cool with that?
I'll tell you what, not only would I be cool with that, I will actually pay you 10% of every dollar I collect from every one of those people that you give that free trial away to that becomes a paying client. So 10% of every dollar we ever collect from that person will go directly to you. And in fact, when they refer someone to me, I'll even give you 5% of that referral. So yeah, we've got a really robust affiliate program.
Yeah,
I really believe in paying for those referrals.
I knew you had the affiliate program, obviously, and I knew that they could go sell. I didn't know if it was going to be cool to offer those local businesses that 40 hours. So
I tell you, the thing that the local businesses, the easiest one for them to get their head around right away is the bookkeeping, and telemarketing is another one that's very easy for them to get their head around. But yes, and the thing about brick and mortar businesses, when you get them a VA to do one of those things, they don't let them go. Once they have that person that they like, they just keep them forever. And you think about it. Typically, local businesses, they're paying over $25 an hour for a bookkeeper, for example. You can get them a bookkeeper for $9 an hour, and you're not only are you getting paid for having done that for them, you're going to let them try it out for 40 hours for free, and you're the hero for making it happen.
That's right. That's right. And this is a little bit off topic, and Kobe, you shouldn't have put this in the question box, man, because I'm about to expose it. Brilliant idea here. Now I'm not saying you could do this, Colby, okay? But this is the kind of thinking I like to see on these calls, and this is why I love coming on with you guys. Colby Wright says, I'm going to go to Michael, use my 40 hours to go sell more of Michael's services. I love that, Colby. I absolutely love that. I love that. I want a VA to do cold calling to go sell Michael's services. Fantastic thinking, brother. Fantastic thinking.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people want to know, if you guys listen, the way you sign up for Michael's services, the exact same entry that you sign up to be an affiliate, okay? You go to va.daveigo.com, va.daveigo.com, and fill out the form, and his people are going to get in touch with you, and they're going to talk about your needs, and they're going to get you all set up no matter what the situation is. So it's va.daveigo.com. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
No, that's great. No, that's perfect. And I'm glad you mentioned that again. We're almost to the point where we're going to be opening up for question and answers too. So, let's talk about this. A lot of people on the call probably go to a lot of different events, or they go to networking events, that type of thing. And Dave, have you ever been to an event and you meet a lot of people and you think, I want to get back with those people, and you come home and what do you do with their business cards? What do most people do with their business cards?
Yeah, I hear you. I happen to be better than that. I'm way out in front of you. These guys all know. I just got back from the Warrior Live event actually just last weekend, and I actually flew Eric in for the event just to make sure I wasn't missing any contacts and I wasn't missing any opportunities or links or URLs or anything that I needed. That was Eric's job, and it was worth every penny. Every penny.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what I do when I'm at an event. And everybody, most people, what they'll do at an event, they'll come home and they'll have a bunch of business cards and they stick them in their drawer and they forget about them and they never call them back. But what I'll do is I grab those cards, and on my way out of the event, on my way to the airport, I stop at the front desk down at the hotel, and I hand them all the business cards and I say, here, scan these in and email them to me. So they just scan them in with their scanner. They do this all the time. They never charge me for it. They always scan them in for me. And then I forward that email to one of my virtual assistants who inputs all of those into Infusionsoft, which is the system that we use. And then another one of my VAs calls every single one of those people and sets an appointment for me to talk with them and literally fills up my schedule. And then, of course, I go and I set them up with their 40 free hours, and I help them give away the 43 hours to their list, and everybody wins, and we all move forward, and everybody's happy. And I never, ever, ever miss an opportunity to follow up with somebody.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic idea. Think about this, guys. You're at the event. You got your phone with you, right? Take a picture of the business card, email it to your VA. Now you can lose the card 30 seconds after you got it, and it doesn't matter.
Yep. It's great. And then your VA does it. That's the other thing. Your VA is not like, it's not like when your spouse works for you, and I shouldn't say this because my wife and I obviously work together, but sometimes your spouse, they feel like they've got the prerogative, or your local assistant may feel like they've got the prerogative to say, well, this isn't a priority right now. I'm not going to deal with this business card right now. Your VA is not going to say that. They're going to say, you know what, he sent me this card, I better get it in the system right away. And they're going to do it. So, yeah. It's huge. Well, we were talking about, the affiliate program, and I'm not going to go into, this was the slide about, why Dustin Matthews, Robert Allen, Dave Van Hoos, Nate Kievman, DC Fawcett, and so many others promote virtual assistant staffing. It's for two reasons, I think, and you tell me what you think, Dave, but one is because they believe in our service, because they know that we're never going to charge anybody until they've got the person they're happy with. And two, because we do. We pay a good, healthy affiliate commission, and we actually pay it, which is sometimes in the affiliate world an anomaly, I think. But we actually also, we don't do an ACH. I actually write a physical check to each of my affiliates every other week. And so twice a month, or every 2 weeks, those checks go out to each of our affiliates. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
all right.
And there's one person you guys probably are all half familiar with. He's a member of our group. He's in our Skype group. I don't want to expose anything, so we'll just call him KC. Micael, you know who I'm talking about. What's he doing out there? What's he doing out there?
Well, I'm actually totally comfortable exposing him. Can I share his name?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll throw Keith Carberry into the bus any day. I mean, I'm like the next guy. I love teasing the guy. No, he's a great guy. Keith's one of my good friends. And Keith actually has been a very good affiliate with us, and he, in fact, just referred someone to us who is hiring 14 virtual assistants from us. So you start thinking about those commissions. Some of them are pretty high-level VAs, too. So Keith's going to be earning some great little affiliate commissions on that, and that's just one client. I'm wondering how many more he'll refer. He's referred a ton of people to us. Yeah. He's a great guy.
He's one of us guys. He started 4 months ago. 4 months ago. He's a member of the $1,000 a day group. Many of you know him on a personal level like I do, and he's out there just crushing it selling this service. Crushing it.
He's done great. Well, you probably know Todd Gross, too. Todd's one of Keith's partners, and Todd's done a lot of that as well. They've both referred the heck out of us, and Keith is just, you're right, he's got it very well dialed in.
Absolutely.
So, well, let's talk about when should I hire a VA? When you're ready for growth, when you experience attrition, when you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to save money, or you're just ready to take your business to the next level. But most of all, when you can afford one. I'm a very conservative guy when it comes to finances, and I never want someone to overextend themselves beyond what they're comfortable. And so make sure that you're in that position where you feel like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to do this, I can afford one, and I'm ready to take my business to the next level, and let's make it happen. Now, there's several ways you can find the right VA. Obviously, you can hire us, which is great. We're the world's leading headhunter for VAs, or you can do it yourself, and either one is fine. I'm not here to tell you that you have to hire us to do it. There's a lot of websites out there that can be very helpful for you in finding a VA. You can go to Elance, Odesk, Guru. There's tons of different websites out there that are great resources. But just understand, if you're going to do it yourself, take the time to do it right, because it's not as easy as I'm going to jump on a website and pick somebody whose profile matches what I'm looking for. You really do. You need to look at 200 to 400 resumes. You really need to interview the heck out of these people. Put them through a real interviewing process. Make sure they're doing some tests. Do a DISC profile test on them to find out, is their personality right for this position. Go through the necessary things that you need to go through to make sure that they're both technically qualified and that they've got the right personality for this job, and you'll have a home run. Now, if you don't want to do all that, that's what we're here for. We'll take care of all that for you, and we'll give you that first 40 hours to try them out for free. All right. Now, a lot of us suffer from this nobody can do it as well as I can syndrome, and I'll tell you, the truth of the matter is, if you can get people that do things 80% as well as you do, you've hit a home run. And so, maybe you're right. Maybe they're not going to do it as good as you, but I'll tell you, the fact of the matter is, there's always somebody that does something better than all of us. There always is. And so focus on finding the very best people you can to leverage your time. One of the things you should do right now, whether you're going to hire a VA now or not, this is an exercise that everybody on the call should do. Make a list of every single thing you do all day long. Do this every day for a week, and then at the end of the week, I want you to go back through and I want you to analyze that list. And first of all, you're going to find that you're wasting a lot of time on things you didn't realize you were spending that much time on. Then I also want you to go through and highlight the things that you want to get off your plate, whether it be eliminating them altogether or delegating them to a virtual assistant or whoever. So it's a very healthy exercise to go through for your business, and it'll help you, make sure that your time in your business is effective. All right, and then finally, know this: you're going to get out of your team what you put into them. You need to train them, motivate them, hold them accountable on a daily basis. And I like to do a daily huddle. So every morning I'll get together with my team and I'll say, okay, what did we do yesterday? What got accomplished? What are our goals and our tasks for today? What are the potential challenges or roadblocks that might keep us from doing those things? And then I'm going to just take a few minutes to motivate, inspire, and direct the efforts of my troops. And I can do this in 15 minutes or less. But I'll tell you that when you do this and you invest time in your team and training your team, just like Dave and I have, you can literally create a team of ninjas out there working on your behalf, and that's what you want. And so take the time to train properly. I'll get you people that are well skilled in the things you want done, but it's your job then to make sure that they're trained in how you like those things done. So, and by the way, that's very easy when you use like Jing or Screencast, Camtasia. Create a little short video on the process. Shoot it via email to your VA, maybe Dropbox it to them, and if they have any questions, they can shoot you a Skype or call you on the phone or email you to discuss it. Very, very simple stuff. So, Dave, I got one more testimonial for you before we head to the Q&A. Could you read this for us real quick?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. You guys are lightning fast. I'm not sure if you started looking for the person I needed before I knew I needed him, but it sure seemed like it. Great service, great support. Can't wait until I need another VA so I can go through the process again. And this is Brad from Infuse My Business. He's the real deal when it comes to sales funnel stuff. This is the guy.
He's actually one of the guys that created Infusionsoft.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brad is the real deal. He's a very good guy, and when he hires a VA, he's hiring the real deal VAs. He's hiring really high level programmers like Ruby on Rails guys that just know things that I couldn't even imagine. And so Brad's been a great client, good friend, and just a terrific guy all around. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's recap real quick how it works, and this is very, very quickly. You're going to use after this webinar, you're going to jump on that website, and on the next slide, it's going to show you that website one more time, and you're going to get a VA for 40 hours for free. Now, please do me the favor. If you're only thinking, I'm going to use the 40 hours and then I'm going to cancel, please don't do it because I'll go broke if everybody does that. Seriously. If you're serious about hiring a VA, you want to grow your team, and you're serious about having somebody on your team long term, then take advantage of the 40 hours by all means. I want you to have that chance to get to know this person, to make sure that they're truly the right fit for your team. And understand, I can't guarantee that your first placement will be perfect, but I can absolutely guarantee you will never pay me anything until you're 100% happy. I will always take 100% of the risk so that you don't have to. Our goal is to provide you with the right virtual assistant, take the majority of the tasks off your plate, help you focus on money-generating activities so that you can work on your business and not in your business, and then, of course, develop a long-term relationship with you and your team, just like I have with Dave and with Brad and with all these other folks, Keith, that we've all talked about. And hopefully you'll becoming a raving fan, just like they have, referring us to everyone you know and earning those affiliate commissions in the process. So there's the website, va.daveigo.com, and you can see that on your screen. And then, Dave, I think we'll turn it to you for questions and anything else you've got.
Yeah, cool. We'll leave this up for just a second, and then I want to get we're going to have you guys, I want all you guys to go grab your cell phone or your daughter's cell phone or your grandma's cell phone or whatever you got to do. Get yourself a cell phone. Get yourself a Google Voice number because I'm going to have you all text in a keyword pretty quick, and we're going to pick a couple of winners. I told you guys I'd be giving away a couple of copies of the Wrecking Ball SMS system. That's actually officially going public release tomorrow, but I'm going to give a couple of those away. So grab your cell phones, but we'll run through a handful of questions here while you guys are rounding those up. And once again, just cover to sign up as an affiliate. They just want to go to va.daveigo.com and fill out the form, and a member of your staff will give them a call to see what they're looking to accomplish, correct?
That's absolutely correct. So whether they want a VA or they want to sign up as an affiliate, just go to that website, and somebody on my staff will contact you, and we'll help you out with whatever your needs are, and you'll be in business. It'll be very, very easy for you.
Yeah, and Shane says, can they do calling to arrange sales meetings or webinars? Absolutely. Mike, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh my gosh, that's one that's getting very popular now. A lot of our info marketers are having them call ahead of webinars to increase the attendance on the webinar. They're having them call after webinars. Yes, the short answer is you can have them call for any reason whatsoever. Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. And yeah, Mike, or Shane, specifically cold calling. That's
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and they're good. They're good. Can I get a VA for a variable amount of time, say a little bit this week and a little more next week and then a little less the next week? How does that work?
Ideally, you want to have your VA as consistent as possible because, I mean, think about it. Put yourself in the VA's shoes. You know, they want a consistent source of income, right? And hopefully they're working, a consistent number of hours across several different clients or if necessary to get to their full time. That being said, there is some flexibility if you need, let's say you only need 10 hours a month or you know you're going to need 40 hours a month but you don't know when, we can tailor a package for you that will accomplish that.
Awesome, awesome. Renee says, heard Michael speak at real estate thing for 1-800-SELL-NOW in Florida about 5 years ago.
Oh, that's funny. That's Kent Clothier's company. He's a great guy. That's terrific.
Let's see. All right.
That was back in the day. I was a real estate agent back then. That was a long, that's a long time ago.
Got it. Steven wants to know, so Dave, can I set them up to use the SPS SMS system or LBS? Yes, absolutely. And I can promise you that would be an excellent use for a VA, knowing those systems as fluently as I do. Amoroso wants to know if they're fluent English speaking. I can attest to this. Yes, they are. They sound like your neighbor, brother. Let's see. Yeah, Digital Dave, I just answered that question. Wayne, I'm going to read your question here. Let's see, maybe you'll cover this. I'm not making a dime yet, but should in a month or 2 or 3, is there a time limit for this wonderful gift?
And the short answer is no, there's not. I'm going to listen, you guys are clients and friends of Dave's. I'm going to leave this offer open for you for as long as necessary for you to take advantage of it. Now, keep this in mind. I mean, I can't guarantee that it's going to be around in a year, but I have no intentions of ever taking this offer away from you. So what I would recommend is go to the website, fill out the form, get into my system, get connected with my company, and when you are ready, and even though you're not ready now, that's okay. If you're not ready now, at least get connected with us, and when you are ready, then you know how to talk to us, you know how to communicate with us and get in contact with us, and then we will give you that 40 free hours that you can then start off with. So I'm really glad you asked that question.
Yeah, and Robert's got a good one here. For newbies, cost is a big deal, and we've all led to believe that we should be looking for VAs in the Philippines.
We have VAs in the Philippines. We hire a lot. In fact, probably 60% of the people we hire are actually out of the Philippines. And there are great VAs in the Philippines. It just really depends on what you're looking for. That's the big key. I really want to get a chance to analyze your business, find out exactly what your needs are, and then we'll get you the most affordable VA that we possibly can that fits your specific needs. And a lot of times that might be out of the Philippines, but if I can find a more affordable solution for you somewhere else, my guess is you'll probably be okay with that as well.
Yeah, and that's a great answer. You know, the priority, no matter whether you're hiring local, hiring virtual, no matter what it is, whether you're buying a piece of software, it has to be about getting the right tools to do the job and then getting them as absolutely affordably as possible. But it's about finding that right fit, because I will gladly pay somebody an extra 10%, an extra 20% if they're the right fit and they're motivated and they're going to take care of what I need them to take care of and I don't have to worry about them. It's worth every dime because you make it up doing what you do best instead, you know, and that's something that a lot of people miss. Before I pull, I'm going to switch screens here so you guys can have a text number, but I want you all to go to va.daveigo.com. Probably not yet because you're going to want to shot at these things, but va.daveigo.com, and I'm going to just show you this. I want you to text VA to 651-927-8585. Text VA to 651-927-8585. 8585, and I'm going to leave that on the screen while we take some more questions here. We're going to be giving away 2 copies tonight, guys, of the brand new, and I know some of you say, oh, it's not brand new. I'm telling you, it's brand new. We've been on it for 96 hours straight. It's done. It's ready. It's 20 times better than ever, so you're definitely going to want to enter to win a shot at this. Let me just scroll down through some of the questions here. Yeah, Amaro, I think we covered those already. Let's see. Ryan Webb says, a few questions concerning charges. Is there a minimum charge? Do they charge a monthly retainer? Do you pay in advance? And are there different packages available?
Gosh, those are great questions.
Yeah.
All right. So the first answer is no. There's no minimum charge. The smallest package we offer is 10 hours a month, and that's basically it. And so the general package that people will go with is like 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, or 40 hours a week. That being said, we're going to give you the first 40 hours for free, and then 2 more weeks are going to go by before we charge your card for the first time, because we charge your card in arrears. So we charge, we do the work first and then we charge you, basically. And so no, you will never be charged in advance. And no, there's no sign-up fee, there's no additional fees, there's nothing. The rates that I'm telling you are inclusive of my fees. So it's all built in there. That's your all-in cost.
Yeah, very, very cool. And Dr. Jan says, Dave, I need this so bad. Why didn't you tell me about this when we were on the phone the other day? Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but then you wouldn't come to the webinar, would you?
Oh, I love it. That's funny.
Yeah, sorry, Dr. Jan. I didn't know you were looking. I'd have hooked you up 2 days ago and saved you 48 hours. I know you'll get over it, darling. I know you will. Let's see. A good investment on your part, guys. You'll be building a trusting client base that way. Yeah, that's a great comment, Mike. I think that one came in a little while ago, but that's a fantastic comment. Average salary range, I think we kind of covered that. Dr. Jan's throwing shots into the question box now. Let's see. What if I feel I just need to outsource some stuff? Good or bad for VAs? I think what Robert's asking is, if he's looking for one-off task-specific stuff, should he just be going to Odesk?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, if it's literally just a one-off project, you might consider just. I hate to send somebody there because I know how hit and miss it can be to get somebody that really does a good job. So it's kind of I don't like to refer those kind of companies out for that reason. But that being said, I guess start with this. Just give us a call. Jump on, put your contact information in there. Let's have you talk with one of our relationship managers about it, just to be safe, just to be sure that it's not something we can take care of for you. If it's not, we're going to tell you. If it's not something that's in our wheelhouse, we'll tell you, and we'll give you some suggestions on where to go to really get what you're looking for. I mean, we get that from time to time. Somebody will say, well, I just want X, Y, and Z done, and it's just a short-term project, and I might think, well, gosh, you know what? I know this company over here is really, really good at that, so I'm going to recommend you jump over there. Even if we don't earn a dime on it, it's okay. I just want to make sure you're taken care of. So.
Yeah, and that's I can personally speak to the ethicality. Is that a word? It ought to be, damn it. I can personally speak to that about Michael's company. The intake process is well, it's soothing, to be honest with you. At least it was with me, and I can't recommend it enough. Scott wants to know, can I get a medical transcriptionist that does bookkeeping and telephone confirmations?
I'm really glad you asked that question in that way. One thing that we want to keep in mind is that there are different people with different personality types and different skill sets. First of all, can I get you a medical transcriptionist? Absolutely. Is that the same person that you want calling your clients? Probably not. Now, I can get you the person to call your clients, and I can get you the person to do your medical transcription, but they're probably going to be 2 different people.
And you probably could overpay the one to do the other, but that wouldn't be the right way to attack it, right?
Yeah, and it depends on what kind of calls you're having them do. I'll give you an example. If you wanted to hire a high-end executive assistant that was going to make warm calls for you, they could also do a lot of that data entry, transcription work, that kind of stuff. They're not going to be as fast as an actual transcriptionist, But if you wanted them to be able to multitask like that, they could. Now, if, however, you're hiring somebody to do cold calls or hardcore telemarketing, that's the wrong person to do any kind of data entry. That person will screw it up. And we want to make sure that, again, we want to get you the right person for the job and make sure that it's done right. And so that's really a conversation you want to have with your relationship manager and describe for them in detail exactly what you would plan on having this person do, and then they can kind of help you understand if that can be rolled into one job with one person or if it needs to be broken into maybe a couple of part-time jobs instead of one full-time job, for example.
Excellent, excellent answer. And you know what? Before I get into my questions, I'm going to give one of these things away. Does anybody want the brand new Wrecking Ball SMS system? Does anybody want one of these? Right? You guys don't have any use for this stuff, right? Yes, 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 hell yes. All right, let's give one of these guys away. And then we'll come right back to questions and answers. I'm going to use the brand new system here, and let's just pick a winning number at random here from the list we've got set up. 612, a neighbor of mine, 384-7942. 612-384-7942. Who is it? I just sent you a text message. Who is that? Who is that? Somebody punch it in if that's yours. Boo, not me. No, it wasn't my wife, Amoroso. Well, they probably left already because they went running to sign up. I sent them a text. We're done. Relax, relax, relax. Yay for someone, wish it was me. Russell, nope, they may be gone. I sent them a text. We'll find out who it was. If you haven't texted in, I want you guys to text in VA to 651-927-8585. Digital Dave, Micael, good friend of ours, Digital Dave wants to know my question, and this is a great question, Dave. My question is not what they can do, but how to use your VA efficiently with pinpoint purpose.
I love it. Well, the key again is training, and one of the things that I like to do is I like to have a list all the time of the things that they can do when they don't have anything that's time sensitive that I've given them to do. So, in other words, I'm going to give them, here's the priorities that I have. You know, this is what I want you to do first, second, third, fourth. And then if you have nothing else to do, I want you to go on Facebook and do some, posts for me, or I want you to do these backlinks for me, or I want, whatever it is, I'll give them tasks that they can do for the times that I don't have time to give them something to do. And so it's just those kinds of things that are going to be done all the time. The real key, though, is always communicate with your VA and always give them not just I don't want you to misunderstand. Depending on the level of VA you hire, if you're hiring a tier 1, 2, 3, somebody in that lower range, you're going to have to direct them a lot more. But if you're hiring somebody in these higher levels, these higher level virtual assistants, they don't require as much direction, and you can kind of give them more global direction, and they'll figure out how to get it done and how to keep themselves busy and make sure they're effective on your behalf. So, but again, training, communication, absolutely key.
Excellent. And Robert wants to know, what if we're looking for almost like a JV partner? He says, for example, my Chamber of Commerce wants to run a membership drive campaign, but I really don't know how to put it together. Are high-level VAs strategic like that? Is it possible to find that person, the guy with the MBA overseas that's done that high-level business strategy stuff?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is, when it comes to strategy, I like to be the person in my company that does the strategy, and I like my team to implement my strategy. So don't hire a VA to run your business is what you're saying. Well, yes and no. I mean, I can get you a VA that eventually can completely run your business depending on what your business is, but I think it would be naive to think that I'm going to hire somebody today that's going to run my business and I'm just going to go to, Cancun and never talk to anybody ever again, ever, and all of a sudden I'm going to make all this money. I think that's fairly naive to think that we could do that. But we can you'd be surprised at how high level some of these VAs are. You'd be very surprised.
Okay, that's a great answer. Amorosa says, pay me and I'll send you an inspiring message every morning. Wake the F up. All right, Bella, you're back on my list. I'll start paying you when you finish my new ClickBank product, and you know what I'm talking about. I joined late. What was the offer? Is there a trial period? Yeah, Mike, let's cover that one more time here.
Okay. So we're going to give you. You want me to go? No, we don't need to go to that slide. I'll just tell them. So because you were on this webinar today with Keith, with Dave talking about Keith behind his back,
yeah,
we're going to give you. I love that. We're going to give you 40 hours of virtual assistant time absolutely free, so that you can test this person out to make sure they're the right long-term fit for your team. Now please don't just use this 40 hours and then quit. And if that's your plan, I'd really prefer that you not opt in at that point. But if you're serious about growing your team, then go to va.daveigo.com and fill out the form, and we will contact you. We'll find out exactly what your needs are. We'll do a global search for the right person to fit those needs. Takes us about 2 weeks to go through that process, and once we've got that person, we'll let you test them out for 40 hours absolutely free. If you love them, awesome. Then you can pay after that for the time following the 40 hours. If you don't love them, then contact us back and say, hey, I'd like a different one, and we will get rid of that one, get you a different one, and I'll even tell you what, I'll even give you another 40 hours for free with the new one. Bottom line, I want to make sure that we're getting you to the right long-term fit for your team.
Yeah, and that's great. I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to pick the second winner here so I can get this slide out from in front of your face so you don't have to stare at it anymore. Last chance. Send VA to 651-927-8585. 651-927-8585. And then I'm going to throw the screen back over to Michael, and we'll keep going through the questions. Going once, going twice, I'm picking it. You snooze, you lose, folks. That's how it's going to be. All right, 770-276-9496. 770-276-9496. Who is it? We're going to send you that out right there so you've got my email. It'll tell you exactly what to do in that text message. That was great, Dave. That was great. Whoops, I just muted you and unmuted you, Mike. It didn't work. Here we go. I'll make you the presenter again. Let me get back to the question box.
I'll bet my wife wishes it was that easy to mute me out.
Right on, yeah, that we all ought to have that button according to them. But what do they know? Johnny's got a great question. With the overseas virtual employees, do you have any hardcore issues with power failures, earthquakes, or internet losses?
Sure, it happens from time to time. It's when you say hardcore, I mean, does it happen any more than it happens at my house? Not much. My power goes out once in a while. I don't get earthquakes in Seattle, but it hasn't been really. I'll be honest with you. We haven't seen that to be a huge issue. One of the things too is we avoid areas that are really prone to that. And so, there's definitely parts of the world and parts of different countries that have better power grids than others. And so we try and avoid those areas as much as possible. But I'll be honest, it really hasn't been a big challenge for our clients.
Okay. And Mr. Labro, I see your question in here, but I'm going to read the one right below it because I think that's going to answer it. Dan Rupp's asking the hard question. What's the advantage of going through this program or hiring somebody ourselves through programs that are out there that we can put out job requests and select what we want? Tell them what the difference here is, because that's an important distinction.
Absolutely. It's kind of like, could you sell your house by yourself? Sure, absolutely. And, could you save the real estate commission by selling your house yourself? Yeah, absolutely. You bet you could. Will the real estate agent be able to get you more money for your house? Yeah, probably. Will they do all the work for you? Yeah. Will they make sure it's done legally? Absolutely. So it's kind of like that frame of mind, right? So when it comes to VAs, could you go out and find a VA on your own? Absolutely. Will you do as thorough a screening process as we will? Absolutely not. Would you be able to find the absolute best person for that position as well as we probably could? Probably not. Now, is it possible? Sure, you bet. But the fact of the matter is I've got 8 full-time people on my staff that do nothing but recruiting all day long every day, and they interview people all day long every day. That's what they do. And also, when you do it on your own, you're not going to get the opportunity to try these people out for free. You're going to pay to try them out. So you go hire somebody. They're not going to come to work for you and say, yeah, I'll give you my first 40 hours for free. I actually pay these people during that 40-hour trial out of my own pocket. But I'm willing to take that risk because I have that much faith in my process. And I have that much faith that when we find you that right person, you're going to keep them long term. And eventually I'll get my money back. It takes me a while, but I'll eventually get it back. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys think about this for a second. When's the last, I don't want to offend anybody here, but if you're applying for a job at a Burger King, it's a different thing. But when's the last career level position you applied for a job at a career level position where you didn't deal with a headhunter? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Because those companies pay those people big money to go find you. There's a reason for it, because in the long run, it's a much better deal and it's much more cost effective than the trial and error method.
We're working out an arrangement right now, and I can't tell you who it is, but we're actually working out an arrangement with another headhunting agency that places people in 2 different government organizations that have 3-letter acronyms, and they specialize in hiring top secret clearance folks. So I can't tell you who it is, but I'm guessing you can probably figure it out. And so we are now working with them on some of their overseas recruits. And so if you think about it, here you have, we do everything from corporate America to government entities to mom and pop businesses. And there's a reason why these people are using headhunters, because it's what we do. It's what we're good at. And, you've got better things to do than go out there and spend a bunch of time trying to find the right person, only to find out that maybe they lied on their resume, or they, exaggerated their qualifications on the website that you found them on. And I'll tell you, we fight those battles every day, and we don't let those people get through to our clients.
Yeah, and here's a couple of questions that kind of tie into each other. Dave asks, let's see, what's the workaround with dealing with security and trust? Example, access to your passwords and clients' passwords and stuff. Dave, I'll give you the answer to that. I'm using a tool called LastPass, and it's available. There's no affiliate link here, but LastPass.com, and it's a phenomenal tool that allows you to grant access on a share basis, and the people never have to see your password. And if it goes bad, with the click of a mouse, you can lock them out of everything you've given them access to. And there's lots of tools like that out there, but I use LastPass. And Art Coster says, what types of software do they have access to? Do you provide any?
What types of software they have access to? It depends on what you're hiring for. If you're hiring for an executive assistant and you need them to have, basic office products, they're going to have those, because we're going to hire somebody that has those. If you need somebody that's a video editor, they're going to have the video editing software that you want them using. If they're, it's going to come down to what you're hiring for. Now, if you're hiring somebody and you need them to have access to a particular CRM that's your CRM, you're going to need to provide them with the seat on that CRM, or the user access to that CRM. But when it comes to general mainstream products that are specific to a particular position that somebody would ordinarily have in the course of doing business in that type of position, they're going to have that already more often than not.
Yeah, and most of the products we're dealing with aren't a pay per seat type of software. Most of it is going to be allowed to let other people that are part of your organization use that software for the most part. Obviously you got to check your license and stuff, but this isn't it's not a sweatshop. I know why this question came up. You guys have all seen a lot of virtual assistant offers promoting a certain company where they have a warehouse full of people and they have task-specific software that they can offer you, but really they're selling that package instead of personalized service. In my opinion, it's the wrong way to go. I've investigated that route, and in the long run, even if you had to buy another copy of most pieces of software for your VA, you're going to be much farther ahead with a quality VA and putting out another $80 for another seat if you had to.
Well, and you make a good point. There are a lot of companies out there that have the big, and I don't want to call them a sweatshop necessarily, but you know what I mean, the big the big box companies that have a bunch of VAs in one place. And I know a gentleman who owns one that, he does a great job, I think, for what it is. And, they do a lot of the SEO and backlinking, that kind of thing. And I think they do fine with that. The thing that I would caution you on, though, is I don't prefer that type of service because I want to have somebody who is a part of my team. I want them to become a part of my culture. I want them to become, I want the same person every time. That's who I deal with. That's who's doing the work. It's not I'm dealing with one person and they're handing the work off to somebody else, or I get, this person's out today, so I'm dealing with a different person. I want my team because I want them to know my stuff like the back of their hand. And you get that when you hire specific to your need an individual who is on your team.
Yeah, awesome answer. Katie D, I think that's Miss Darden. How you doing? Love the idea of offering VA services to clients. Mike says, do you have any tools to help me promote your services to local clients and local businesses, such as flyers and that type of thing? And
I don't actually, but I'll tell you what. If you want, let me know that you what you're trying to do, and maybe if you give me an idea of what you would like, we can see if we can have one of our graphics designers create it.
There you go. So this is a great company, Mike. These people really want to work with you. I promise you. Go sign up over at va.daveigo.com and fill out the form, and you're going to get a phone call. And just tell them what you're interested in and work with them. And they're an organization that's dedicated to working with you. So I'm sure you guys, Michael, can come up with anything that these folks need to go promote your services.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that I would ask, if you would each do me the favor, there are a lot of people today on the webinar, and we're going to get a lot of people wanting us to call them. Do me the favor, just be patient. You may not get a call tomorrow. It may not be the next day, but within a week, you're going to get a call. And you're going to get an appointment set, and depending on how many people are setting appointments, it could be another week before I can actually fulfill that appointment. But just know we will not drop the ball with you. I just want to make sure that when we do that appointment with you, we're going to schedule it. And even though you may not need an hour on the phone with us, you may only need 10 minutes on the phone with us. But we're going to schedule it for an hour because I want to make sure that we have in our schedule plenty of time to handle whatever needs and whatever questions you have that may come up. We want to make sure that you're fully taken care of. So just be patient with us in that process as we get to each and every one of you. We are not a big box company that's trying to slam 1,000 people through our system. We are very personalized. We deal with each and every client one-on-one and at a very, very personal level. And so, just as I said, just be patient as we get to each and every one of you.
Yeah. And let's see, just going through, Curly is on the call. Curly says, yes, sir, you're the man, Dave. I got to give a public shout-out to Curly here real quick. I just met Curly at the Warrior Live event about 10 days ago, and he went out of his way to come find me and shake my hand and thank me. And I just want to this is a guy, Curly, is it Vinas? I don't even know how to pronounce your name. There might have been a beer or two involved by the time we got to that point that night. But Curly's a guy that you guys want to pay attention to. This is a guy with some fantastic ideas, and I just want to say thank you for making me feel, welcome. I appreciate the fact that you went out of your way to offer a handshake to me. So good to see you on the call, Curly. Let's see, no headbutting with VAs like it is with your spouse. How do you sign up as an affiliate? That's got to be an old question because I know JA is not snoozing at the wheel. Let's see. Let's go through some of these things. Let's go through. We covered that. Let's see. For those of us that joined the webinar late, will you be sending out a link to the replay? Yes, I can provide you a link to the replay, and you're definitely going to want to watch it. Yeah, Mike Weiss has been putting in some great comments, not really questions, but comments. And this is a comment that I remember scrolling through the question box when we were talking about letting go and the 80% thing. And Mike says, in quotes, but my business is different, in all capital letters. I hear you, Mike. That's a syndrome we all struggle with right there, man. Let's see, Dave, let's be honest with you, Dave nailed it when he said prospecting for new clients is probably the thing that most of us need. And I think there's probably a couple of ways to use VA to go prospecting, don't you?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that there's not enough of, there too often, especially in this internet age and then, with all the types of technological tools we have to contact people, unfortunately, we've a lot of times lost that personal touch. And we forget that getting voice-to-voice with somebody is, next to being face-to-face with them, it's the most powerful thing you can do. And that needs to happen in a lot. And depending on what type of business you're in and how you're managing your business, getting voice to voice can be very, very effective. And I'm kind of an old school guy that way. I love technology. I use the heck out of technology, but I always like to bring it back to that personal touch. And you get that personal touch when you get voice to voice. And yeah, your VAs can make that happen for you.
Yeah, for sure. And Mike says, when we sell VA services as an affiliate, what's my responsibility for these clients?
Your responsibility for those clients is limited to you drove them to a website. We're going to give you an affiliate link, and you'll drive them to that affiliate link, and we'll take it from there.
And then they just got to sit back and wait for money to start raining from the sky, pretty much, don't they?
That's exactly right. We'll take it from there, and you'll just it's all put in Infusionsoft, and you guys are probably all familiar with Infusionsoft. And so, once you're in as their affiliate, whenever that dollar comes through from them, it automatically pays you 10% of that dollar immediately.
Yeah, and guys, I'm on Infusionsoft now. I just made the switch. Eric and I have been making the transition for this new product launch. This isn't your standard affiliate platform where somebody gets in and out cookies you. If you're tagged in Infusionsoft, it's yours. So keep that in mind, that you're not going to be fighting for commissions here. The people that jump on this early are going to be the people that get that tag in Infusionsoft early and get rewarded for life. Dan says, what's a good tool for measuring their productivity and the hours they're actually working? I think he's talking about reporting tools and then project management type stuff.
All right, having managed hundreds of people over the years, I would tell, in fact, probably pushing 1,000 people now, I will tell you that the key to management is a couple of things. One, keep it super simple. Do not overcomplicate this. It's not worth it. Two, the way I keep it super simple is I just have them give me an end-of-day report. They put it in writing, and it breaks down by hour every single thing they've done all day long. When you hire a VA through us, we'll give you a copy of the report that I use for my team. You can use it with your VA if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you're more than welcome to use it. And all of our VAs are prepared with the expectation that you're going to expect them to do that. But again, you can choose not to have them do it if you don't want to. But at the end of the day, here's probably the best thing that I can say about managing anyone, whether they're local or abroad. If I have to manage you at that level, I don't need you. The key here is you want to make sure you're hiring people that are conscientious and that are going to work hard, that don't require you to be looking over their shoulder all the time. If you have to look over their shoulder all the time, you got the wrong guy.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll know. You guys all know. I mean, trust your gut. You know. You know when you're being paranoid or if it's a legitimate concern. I mean, we all know. And
you can tell within the first 40 hours of working with somebody, you're going to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Having someone who is overseeing the VAs is a great advantage. I have at least 3 VAs who are wonderful but suddenly disappeared in the middle or near the end of a project.
Yeah, and it depends on what kind of VAs you're hiring and where you're hiring them. That is one of the advantages because we have personal knowledge with most of the people we're placing. We have personal knowledge as to their work history. Now, there's going to be exceptions to that. Obviously, we bring new VAs into our system once in a while as well. But because we are very thorough in that interview process, we eliminate a lot of that. We make them jump through an awful lot of hoops to get hired with us, and that helps eliminate those fly-by-night guys that are going to disappear on you eventually.
Yeah. And Jonathan wants to know, do we need to send our VAs 1099s for taxes? How is this handled?
Oh, that's great. And I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet. You're going to love this. The answer is absolutely not. No, you do not need to do that. In fact, when you sign up for a VA with us, what we're going to do is we're going to take your credit card so you can give us a frequent flyer mile card if you have it, and we'll just automatically charge that card at the end of every 2 weeks. You'll get the frequent flyer miles for it, and we take care of all the paperwork. You don't have to do anything. It's just a straight line expense. You know, it's like hiring a company to do anything. You don't have to 1099 these guys or anything, because on paper they work for me,
Right.
even though in reality they're working for you.
Yeah, and Jonathan's a member of, we just had, taxes are kind of a hobby of mine, Michael, which is just a sick thing altogether, but I'm like the only guy that I know that skips to an audit, okay? I'm really that guy. So I put on a little business tax class, and Jonathan was very, very involved in that, so that's a great question, Jonathan. That's a great question, and this all goes back to the rule we talked about in the tax class. If you're paying an expense or you're paying an invoice, then there's no 1099 involved. 1099 only applies to an independent contractor status. Check with your CPA to confirm that I'm correct.
Another thing to keep in mind, too, and I'm glad you put that caveat in there with the CPA. It's always good. Anytime we're giving this kind of advice, it's important that you check with your CPA to make sure that that they're copacetic with it. But my understanding from our attorneys, and we've hired international attorneys, we've hired local attorneys, we've been through the 6 ways to Sunday to make sure we're on the right side of the law. But basically, the way it works is if they are doing the work from the Philippines, then the taxing authority that would have the ability to tax that, or that would be responsible for that hour of time would be the taxing authority in the Philippines, not in America. If they're doing work from and in America, then it's the taxing authority in America that has the authority to tax that time. And so, again, if you're hiring an American VA, yeah, now we got to talk about 1099s, potentially even a W-2, depending on if they meet the litmus test or not. But if we're talking about somebody abroad, no, those are absolutely non-issues. You don't have to worry about it. We've already taken care of all that. And by the way, even when you hire an American VA through us, if you hire an American VA through us, we have a company, a third-party vendor that handles all of our payroll when it comes to American-based employees, and all of that is taken care of for you. So when I give you a price for that person, it's inclusive of all the taxes and all of those things as well.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. Just taking care of that alone is huge. Just not having to deal with payroll. We got a bunch of people making comments about the words I'm making up. That's a Don King word. I'll take it. I'm going to take that as a compliment. I'm going to take that. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. What if I'm looking for someone that could create me a serious gaming app for the iPhone platform, i.e. Angry Birds? Can you find me one of those guys, and what would that cost?
I sure can, and I got to be honest, I can't give you a number on that off the top of my head, but I can help you with either a VA to handle that for you, or I can help you with a company that can handle that for you. But we have both at our disposal, and I just can't remember the price off the top of my head, and I apologize for that. But I don't remember what the hourly rate for that position is. But yes, absolutely, we can get you those folks. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's, I did a little bit, and I was fortunate enough, the outsourcers that I'm working with, I didn't have a ridiculous amount of turnover before I settled in, but I want to tell you guys a quick story. You guys all know that I'm a design engineer by trade, and when I quit my job, I continued to do contract engineering work, not a whole hell of a lot these days, not any for the last 4 or 5 months. But I do still staff a junior engineer who's capable of doing the simple stuff and the blueprints and all those kinds of things, but isn't really a designer. And I got myself in over my head, actually the week my WSO went WSO of the day, right? And I had to get something done. I found a mechanical designer, certified SolidWorks professional with a PhD, and a BS degree, engineering BS degree, and you get them for so cheap, and they're happy to do the job because they're making a good wage, and very frankly, the guy was 10 times better than me. He really was, and I'm pretty damn good. And that's not me tooting my horn. I'm pretty good, I've won awards for my products. Victory gave me a damn motorcycle as a thank you for some tooling I designed, and this guy was so much better than me and willing to work for $20 an hour. For $20 an hour, that's an $80 an hour employee in the U.S. It's just amazing what you can get done. So don't think just because you're outsourcing it to a VA that you're not going to get the finest quality app work, because those people are out there and they want to work for you, and Michael's the guy to put them in touch with you. Before we get to the next...
you want to know the reality... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, wait, I got a shameless plug to get in here. va.daveigo.com. Okay, now what were you saying, Michael?
No, I was just going to say the reality is most of those apps are created by people overseas anyway.
Right.
Guess what? You may think that it was created by somebody in America, but it's somebody in America taking credit for the work of somebody overseas more often than not.
Yeah, and that's, it's just it's where we're at. It's the state of the state. You have to always leverage everything you can leverage, okay? You have to leverage anything you can leverage, and one of the things that you have to leverage is this outsourcing, and what makes it available is where the technology's come over the last 10 years. A lot of the things we're talking about today, you guys couldn't even consider 10 years ago. But now with the technology and the communication platforms that surround us every day, it's become easier and easier and easier, and it's become more mandatory every single second. Just scrolling through the question box. Let's see, Janine's here. How you doing, Janine? How many clients can a VA handle, for example, for Facebook, Google Places, reputation management, SMS, working full-time? I don't know that that's a question that you can necessarily answer on a how many clients, Janine, because how many hours do you need to dedicate to each client to take care of them? And I think you would have to kind of nail that down before you could answer the second question there. Let's see. Digital Dave wants to know if, Mike, do you need a VA that has a doctorate in quantum computers?
You know what? I would say shoot us your application. We'll definitely take a look at it. You never know when I'm going to need what, but I'll be honest. We're pretty picky about who we hire, but we're always looking for great people. So if you'd like to send your application in, then please do that. And you can just log into that va.daveigo.com, put your contact information in there, and when you're talking to the relationship manager, then just let them know that you're interested in applying as a VA with us. It's funny because once in a while on these webinars that we do, there'll be folks from all over the world that actually jump in and want to apply as a VA. So yeah, absolutely, we're always willing to look at your application.
Dave, do you really have a doctorate in quantum computers? Is that like no joke? Because I almost feel like I should be addressing you differently or something. Oh my gosh, that's impressive, man. That's impressive. I did not know that. I've been talking to you for months and months and months. I didn't know that about you. God, I feel so stupid all of a sudden. Let's see. Can we use the 40 hours, 5 hours a week, or is there a time limit, or how does that work, Mike?
I'm glad that's a great question. What we do is, let's say your ongoing long-term need is going to be 10 hours a week. Then what we would do is we would take your free 40 hours and we would divide it over the first 4 weeks so that you're actually using it in a way that is similar to how, we want to get you comfortable with the actual type of usage you're going to be using with that VA. If you're going to use, if you're going to be hiring a VA for 40 hours a week, a full-time VA, well then we would have to give you that first week for free. But the key is, again, we want to make sure that it's along the lines of what you're going to be using regularly. Now, if you're only going to need the one caveat I'll throw in here is if you're only going to need 10 hours a month, then generally we don't do the free 40 hours for the 40 hours a month because it doesn't make a lot of sense. But as long as you're going to be doing at least the 10 hours a week, then we would spread that 40 hours out over the first 4 weeks, and that would be free for you. So, and actually, what's cool is your first payment in that scenario would be a month and a half after your VA starts working for you.
Wow. Yeah. See, so that's an awesome package, man, all the way around. Even if you just need a little help, that's a great deal. Just scrolling through the questions, and I had no idea. My partner, Chris Griffin, is on the call, and I had no idea you were coming. How you doing, brother? And Chris punched into the question box This is such an unbelievable, fantastic deal. We want to contribute to. Ed and I just talked, give away an LBS system. So those of you that hung around here, Chris is gonna rev it up a little bit. I'm gonna switch the screen back here just for a quick second. I didn't know Chris was coming. Chris, that's pretty cool, man. I appreciate that, and I know Michael does too. For those of you that haven't seen the Local Business Solutions system that my partners Chris and Ed put out, it is an unbelievable coupon and lead management system, and you guys are all going to love this, and somebody's going to win one right now. 818-968-7216. 818-968-7216. Claim your prize of, we'll punch that in. That's awesome, Chris. I appreciate it. Chris just came to hang out, so that's a fantastic special bonus for you guys. Let me get back to the questions. I know there's a bunch more in here, and let me give Mr. Hellickson, our guest, back the screen here. There we go. Question box, where'd it go? I lose this thing every time I switch away from it. You would think as many webinars as I do, I would really have to know how this goes. Russell Viscus says he won the first Wrecking Ball SMS system. Awesome, Russell. We'll get that to you. You already sent the email? Excellent, excellent. Let's see. Are the VAs contracted to you, or do we need to have a direct contract with them?
No, we contract with them. So our contract with them includes a non-compete, non-disclosure. It includes a confidentiality agreement, which means they're going to keep your information confidential. Our agreement with you ensures that we're going to keep your information confidential as well. So yeah, we've taken care of all the paperwork and all that, so that you don't have to worry about it.
Got it. And Mr. Ward says, that is so cool. You have VAs checking out other VAs. I love it. Let's see. I think we covered this one from Rich Wass, but I do want to say, Rich, I appreciate the sympathy card that you sent. You're one of about 4 people on my list that sent me a card when I had to put my dog down, and I appreciate that. There's a special place in my heart for you, brother. Mr. Dave seems to know all about your confidential deals with VAs and the government, and I'm a little afraid to say anymore because I think we may all get shot. Knock it off, Dave. Let's see. Yeah, LastPass.com was the tool I recommended, and I'm sure you can find lots of other ones, but I love it. It's a great tool. I use it very, very effectively. Let's see. Let's see. I missed the discussion of nope, we covered that one. CT, Internet legend Charles Harper on the call says I should be hiring a VA to be a bodyguard. That's kind of an inside joke. We won't talk about that. It has to do with some happenings at the Warrior Live event. You guys, I'll tell you the story some other time.
Nice.
Peter says, will you call me in New Zealand when I'm ready to sign up?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Go to the website now. Go to va.daveigo.com now. Sign up on that, and then just when you talk to your relationship manager or the person that's calling to set the appointment, just tell them, say, hey, I'm really not ready now, but I'd like you to call me back in 6 months or 4 months or whenever it is, and we'll touch base with you then.
Yeah, awesome. CT, I just saw, I was just brainstorming. This would be an awesome, awesome deal for you to go promote on that new radio show of yours out there in the Pennsylvania. Think of the damage you could do and the help you could give all those local residents of Harrisburg. Let's see.
By the way, let me jump on that real quick.
Yeah.
For anybody that's got a mass list that they want to do, like a webinar or, like a radio show like that, anything like that, if you've got something like that that you want to promote to, make sure your relationship manager knows that, and so that they get me involved in that conversation so that I can help you out in making sure that gets pulled off in nicely so that you get the best response possible.
Cool. Let's see. What does this one say? All right, we covered that. Boy, everybody in here seems to be in the know about secret government agencies. I'm a little scared. I mean, there's like 8, 9 questions. Oh yeah, we know all about that shit. You know, I don't know. Oh, okay, I guess I'm out of the loop. Hi, Janine, how are you? I just saw that. Let's see. Thanks for answering the hard questions. You're welcome, Dan. That's why we're here. You guys know me. I'm not, I don't pull any punches. If I recommend it, it's going to help you, and I won't do a webinar with people that refuse the hard questions. I just refuse. Let's see. Lots of woohoos. Lots of, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this. Chris.
Neither can my wife.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Chris says he's more than happy to provide the LBS system. Chris, I got their email. I sent it to him in a text. I'll forward it to you, buddy. What if we need somebody just for a few? We covered that one. CT says, cool, I would like to promote this on my radio show and webinars. Well, good thing you're going to run right over to va.daveigo.com and sign up, Charles. Yeah, this is how it worked for me, you guys. I went through the intake process with my relationship manager, and then I explained to her, I said, hey, I think this would do a lot of people I happen to know a lot of good. What can we do? And that was about, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I suppose. And we worked it in, and now you guys are all getting a hold of it. So you guys can do the exact same thing, if that's a good if that's a good move for you. Just get over to va.daveigo.com, sign up, and tell your relationship manager what you want to do and why you think you should do it. Do you have any tips for how work instructions are best delivered to your VA? Do you suggest using any types of project management systems or software?
Again, I'm a keep it simple kind of guy. I mean, I know a lot of people use Basecamp and project manager software like that, and those are great tools. I'm much simpler than that. My VAs know what they need to do. I've trained them on what. Well, I say I've trained them. Somebody else on my team has trained them on what they need to do, and so I don't have to really micromanage all that to that level. But what I do is very different too. What I do is very straightforward. I have inside of Infusionsoft, and I love Infusionsoft, my entire process is broken down by every step. So literally, when I'm introducing a client to their virtual assistant for the first time, we call it our kickoff. And during that kickoff, I have about a 25-point checklist built into Infusionsoft that I have to actually check each box. So our VAs, they have the same kind of thing, right? When they're talking to a client about setting an appointment, they have a checklist, that they go through, and that's all in Infusionsoft. But for those of you that are not using Infusionsoft, Basecamp's very easy, and if you want to keep it even simpler than that, just do an Excel spreadsheet if it's something that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated, I had a buddy that decided to open a graphics business not too long ago, and he's just a horribly unorganized guy, right? And he had set aside a weekend. That's it. I'm organizing my office. I'm going to whip my business into shape. And you know what the very first thing he did to organize his office was? He took 2 hours off, ran to the Office Max, and bought an $80 label maker. You don't need those tools, guys. Nope. I mean, sooner or later, sure. But there's nothing wrong with a spreadsheet in Google Docs to take care of it all. There really isn't.
I completely agree. The acronym is true. You've all heard the KISS acronym. Keep it super simple. And that's always been my mantra. The more you complicate things, the more out of hand they get. Just keep it super simple, and you'll be fine. It doesn't have to be a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. And you can turn it into a lot of work by convincing yourself that you need to take on software, that you need to take on these massive grand things. And the key to it is systemization and strategy and process, right? Doesn't matter if it's on napkins, as long as it's on napkins the exact same way every time.
Let me tell you, that's funny because it wasn't a napkin, but I had a project that I needed one of my VAs to do the other day. I grabbed one of those legal pet tablets, the yellow legal tablets. I scratched out my little drawing on what I wanted them to accomplish, and I had my wife email it over to him. She scanned it in, emailed it over to him. They got the project done, sent it to me today. It was great. And so, seriously, it doesn't have to be complicated at all.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. We got a couple of last questions we're going to wrap up. We're knocking on 2 hours here, but we got a couple of questions we want to wrap up. So if you have one or two more, punch them in. Specifically, I'd be interested in a fully English-speaking telemarketer on a 40-hour week. What would something like that cost?
If you want fully English, somebody that's really awesome, I would recommend, and you're going to be in control of this budget, obviously, but the better you can do on the budget, the better chance I have of finding a higher-end, really, really solid VA for you. I'd say you're going to be at about that $15 an hour mark. I think for $15 an hour, you'll get somebody really good. I could probably get you somebody with a minor accent that would be good for $13 an hour, but man, if you could stretch it to $15, you'll be very impressed with who you get.
Yeah, and I can speak, your relationship managers fall into that category, and they're excellent. They're excellent. They put people at ease. They do their job. It's just awesome. It's awesome. Mr. Ward says, I'm really impressed with you both. Well, thank you very much, sir. Keith Schaefer says, great business model, Mike, Chris, Dave, and Ed. Yeah, it is a great business model. This is something that you guys... You can all go make money with it, and you can all save yourself a ton of money. I mean, you really can. This is just an unbelievable deal, and I'm so glad that we caught the front end of the wave, because I really believe that putting this offer out there to a handful of people like me, I think you're going to be so busy and so inundated, you're not going to have time to take new clients very, very soon.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because our biggest challenge right now is simply managing the growth. And we have, I kid you not, we have spent $0 on marketing. Every client we have and has come to us through affiliate relationships just like this, and it's just been humbling, and we're very appreciative for all of the great response we've received. And it's just, our goal is not to grow to become the biggest VA company in the world. Our plan is to continue to keep it small. So we're going to limit the number of webinars we do, for example, and those types of things, because I'd rather just, I want to maintain that quality. I want to be known as the Cadillac of VA companies, the Aston Martin or the Nordstroms of VA companies. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you all very much for your wonderful comments, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and Aaron says, this webinar isn't live, I'm leaving. Back at you, player. CT says, I'm assuming that graphics are okay, but what about specialized infographics?
I don't even know what I'm in the info business, I guess, sort of, and I don't even know what a specialized infographic is.
I don't either. He's from the East Coast. Charles, what the hell do you mean?
I got it.
Charles, what the hell do you mean? Dan Rupp, yeah, sure. Find me on Skype afterwards. I can make a couple minutes for you, no problem. Homero says, you guys are awesome. Homero, you always say that, and I always appreciate it, buddy. Charles, what exactly are we talking about? You talking about like sales thread graphics?
And by the way, Dave, if you'd do me a favor, if you want to just email me separately CT's information, sounds like we need to get a radio show going with him and all that. So if you want to shoot me a separate email with his contact information, and I'll jump on that.
I'll absolutely do that. And he says he's signed up already, but I will make sure and put the two of you in touch. I think you guys could do each other a world of good.
That'd be great. Then I can go through and I can track down his contact in our system and make sure it gets assigned over to me.
Yeah, Jay Poole says, thank you so much, Michael. Thanks, Dave. Off to bed now. It's very early, or it's very late in the UK. Enjoyed all of it, and I finally think I realized what I need to set the wheels into motion. Excellent comment, Mr. Poole, and we appreciate it. Robert says, thanks so much for sharing tonight. And that is about it. I think we've got them all. That's 2 hours on the nose. David says, geez, man, cut me some slack. David wants, how soon will the replay be available? I will do my best for you, man. I should be able to have it up tomorrow. I'm on all new hardware. I got the GoToWebinar thing figured out. I got the codecs. I got all that stuff going. We shouldn't be having any trouble with these recordings going forward. Everybody's saying thank you so much for this incredible opportunity. I want to thank you, Micael, for letting me share this with my group. I think everybody that takes advantage of this offer is going to get so much out of it. Even if they find out a VA is not a good fit for them right now, just the initial consultation is going to be so enlightening for so many of you people. It's all very realistically, it's just an exercise you need to take. No matter what stage in your business you're at, you need to take this exercise, because I promise you, you will think about things different when you get off the phone with your relationship manager up front. David Brown says it will cost us nothing up front, correct?
That is absolutely correct. It will. You will never pay me a dime until you are absolutely happy with your VA.
There you go. That's the perfect statement to end it on, folks. Everybody, run. Don't walk, but run to va.daveigo.com. Fill in the form. Give him a little bit of time because he's going to be swamped. He's a busy, busy guy. His relationship managers, who are extreme professionals, will get back to you, and they will discuss your wants and your needs and provide you with solutions. And they may tell you to go pack sand. This service isn't right for you. And that's one of the things I love about this company, is they're brutally honest. If you don't need them, they're going to tell you. But go over there and fill out that form and take the hour out of your life to change the way you think about scaling your business. I promise you, you will never think about it the same way again. You just won't. Micael, do you have anything else to say before we wrap it up?
I just really appreciate the time and the opportunity to come and speak with your group today, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. And I guess the one thing that I would say in closing is, I hope you guys, and I'm sure you do, that you know what a great friend and a great mentor you have in Dave. And there are a lot of people out there that want to sell you their wares, and there's a handful of guys like Dave that they care more about bringing value to your world than they do about taking your money. And Dave, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm so glad that we were introduced and that we're getting to know each other. And again, thank you so much for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. I appreciate it, because I'm the arrogant type and I need to get the last word in, va.daveigo.com. And I want all of you guys to have a great evening. You all know where to find me. You can get me at support@wreckingballmarketing.com anytime, or find me on Skype, Dave Igo, all one word, and we will talk to you all very, very soon. Have a great night, everybody.